Hey everybody, Metal Shop Steve. Another video, another album review, and once again we are going back to Black Lion Records. I just can't get enough of this record label. To me it feels like a huge record label just because they have so much music there, but in reality they're a small label, and I love to support what they've got. I like a lot of the bands there. I'm liking more every day. So today we're going to review a band that actually they recommended to me. So I checked them out, and we're going to do an album review here. This is actually a review for an album that will not be released until February 2020. Now they have released a couple of singles, and I think that's how they're going to go with this to kind of tease people. But they were nice enough to let me listen to the entire album, and I am going to tell you right now what I think of this album and the band in general. Now, when I say band, I am talking about Kvaen, I believe it's pronounced. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have any kind of an ego there, but they're another Swedish metal band. This album is called The Funeral Pyre, and again, February 2020 is the official release date of this album. But it is, again, it's in that Swedish melodic, maybe not even melodic, but Swedish death metal, doom kind of, range. And this one is actually kind of a side project of somebody else you might be familiar with. Jay Bjornfoot, he is kind of the whole mastermind behind this album. He plays all the instruments on the album, so it's kind of a solo project, if you will. Solo recording. Now, if you know him, if you're up on your Swedish death metal, then you'll know that he's also been in a couple of other bands, on a couple of other projects, playing lead guitar. The Duskfall is one of those, and then also in a band called Autumn Death, where he plays lead guitar and he does vocals there as well. So it's black metal, it's melodic, it's death metal, there's some speed metal going on there. A lot of different things that this guy has his hands in. And so anyway, we're going to talk about this project. Again, I believe it's Kvaen or something similar to that in the pronunciation. But we'll talk about this. We're going to talk track by track again, and I'll tell you what my favorite songs are on the album when we get to the end. So we start out with Revenge by Fire, and this again, sets the tone. You know what you're getting into here. You've got those growly death vocals, and really, really awesome speed guitar going on here. I'm trying to separate in my head thrash guitar from speed guitar, but this is definitely some speed guitar. Either way, I love it. I love fast guitar. So that's a nice way to open this album. There are 8 tracks on this album. Some of them are a little bit longer, nothing too epic, but and some of these, actually, a lot of these songs have these long instrumental parts, which I like to kind of, really show off just how talented Mr. Bjornfoot is with playing just about everything. Again, I said he plays all the instruments on this album, so really appreciate the musicianship there. The next one is a name that I am not familiar with. The next song, Yi Naldlushi. Probably saying that wrong. This one is so relentless. It just does not let up. There's this kind of little bit of, tortured, emotional, slow part of the song, kind of toward the end. I guess you could call it a bridge, maybe. And then it just jumps back up and hammers you relentlessly to the finish line. Great song. Next up, the title track, The Funeral Pyre, number 3 on this album. Really nice build here. There's some clean guitar to start this out, and it kind of moves from mid-tempo to faster, and then the distortion kicks in. It really turns it up a notch. This song, aside from just being kind of a moody death metal type of song or black metal type of song, there's this really nice atmospheric instrumental sound to it. One of the things that I really love is progressive. I love prog rock. So anytime that there's just like that little hint in there of something that catches my ear that I'm like, yeah, that's a little proggy. I love the atmospheric stuff, especially in longer songs, tempo changes, that kind of thing. So again, really great instrumental work on this song. Followed up by Septem Peccata Mortalia. That's kind of just a racing, right out the gate, racing song. The tempo is high. And it's just, I also like when bands do the unexpected a little bit too. So this song's racing along and you're into it and you're like, and then it's just a sudden stop and it's done. So that's kind of interesting too. I like that a lot. Next up, The Wolf's Throne. And you gotta love when bands can come up with these kind of names for their songs. I love it. There's a little bit of, I guess, I don't know, mythology and mystical elements and things like that to some of this stuff. That's one of the nice, really interesting things I find about a lot of the Swedish melodic death metal is, they really let their creativity go with a lot of this stuff. So The Wolf's Throne, the thing I like about this song is that there's a really nice guitar tone to this. So it's a little bit of a break from just your speed death guitar sound. There's this really, it's almost a bluesy guitar tone, but played in this style of music. Again, without you going to take a listen to the song, it would be tough for me to really describe that, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say a little bit of bluesiness in here to this song. And I'm going to have to check. I'm not sure, but I'll link below here to this video the singles that are out now. And I know one of them is that Ye Nal Delushi. Pretty sure that's, as I'm looking down my list here, I think that's one of the singles. But again, I'm gonna link the singles down here below as well. All right, moving on. As We Serve the Master's Plan, that's coming up here. We're getting toward the end of the album. Nice kind of call-out style vocals here a little bit. We're not talking in like a arena rock kind of way, but just a little bit different, a little bit of something different vocally here with this album. Vocally, they're pretty consistent the whole way through. You're not going to hear a lot of change up in his singing, but this is one where there is just a little bit something different to it. There's a really nice riff toward the end. I love riffy stuff. Toward the end of this song, that's kind of how it finishes out. Bestial Winter, the 7th song coming toward the end here. There's this kind of long droning intro. I guess droning is a pretty good way to put it. There's the distortion in the guitar, the metalness to it, but it's again atmospheric, I think is a nice way to put it. It's droning. It's got some kind of gloom and doom to it, but also you get nice guitar in there as well. Finally, number 8, we finish off the album with Hymn to Kvaen. That's another one. If I'm saying the name of the band wrong, then I'm saying the name of this wrong. But it all goes back to Norse mythology, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. At the very least, it's Scandinavian mythology, and that's what this is, kind of an ode to that heritage. And again, almost a little proggy here. There's a little bit of progginess to the guitar, and a lot of instrumental parts to this song that I really like. Actually, I believe the whole thing is instrumental, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just, again, it's showing you what layers musicians have when they do a song like this, where it's not just kind of a one-note album the whole way through. And even if you do something really, really well, if you just kind of hammer on that same thing the whole album, I think you're missing a chance to really show what you can do. And he certainly, Mr. Bjornfoot certainly shows what he can do here on this album. So that is the album. That's the Funeral Pyre. And now I'm going to tell you what I like the best here. I have 3 songs marked as my favorites on this album, the ones that I really liked. I'm just going to go down as they came on the album. The title track, Funeral Pyre, one of my favorites there because I really loved kind of the layers to this one. the build, the clean intro, switching over to the faster guitar, the distortion. So that's one. The Wolf's Throne, another one of my top 3 here. And again, that's the one that had kind of that, hidden bluesy guitar tone to it. And then finally, the instrumental, the final track on there, the hymn. Again, because I just love seeing what people can do when they have the chance. That's the album, The Funeral Pyre, Kvaen, I believe. This one's out in February, but again, some of these singles are out now. I'm going to link to everything below. It's Black Lion Records, and I'm going to make sure that you can at least get a taste of this and listen to some of it, and then hopefully jump onto this when it comes out. It might be available for pre-release purchase if you're looking for that sort of thing. But anyway, down below, and again, a lot more music headed your way, a lot more album talks and things like that. So stay tuned, and as always, thank you for stopping by.